We don't
Well,
have to
let's
go
talk
back
about
through it.
it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, because I think that was important too. Because she talked about validation and then she talked about validation. And pretty much, from what I gather, was like, women shouldn't seek validation to men. TJ, is that what you heard as well?
Well, I did, and I think, well, I'm going to disagree to an extent because I do
Okay.
seek
So,
validation from my husband. I do.
right.
I do. I absolutely
Me
do.
too.
I absolutely do.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what's important is,
I don't have a husband, but I mean for my partner.
but I think it's important, validation from the right people, and I think we talked about it earlier. Are we talking validation or are we talking attention? Because those are two different things.
Right. Let me put this back up.
So I think validation. There are six emotional human basic needs, right? I stole this from Tony Robbins, right? There's significance. We all want to feel significant. That's one of them, right?
Hmm.
And we all, no matter, this is not about something you have to admit. We all don't mind validation from other people. The problem becomes is if you need validation to be happy, if you need validation to be whole, to be wholesome, right? That's when it becomes problem because you're just going to drain and suffocate and smother the other person to death, right? Is
Yeah.
the validation seeking behavior that can become toxic. But we start capping when we say we don't appreciate validation. We do appreciate validation. It makes us feel better, every single one of us, especially a man. We call it ego, right? You stroke the ego of a man, he tends to do more of whatever he was doing when you said it. He connects the dots and he does more of that, right? So um in terms of what April was talking about, right? Does the man coming val? I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but I felt
Yeah.
like at some point I start feeling like the word salad. I want to avoid using all the terminologies so I don't misfire again. But the word salad. But that's what they do. She's trying to explain a point, right? Now, in terms of does a man validate a woman? Yes,
Yeah. So,
but bring it down to feelings. Bring it down
well,
to
let's
feelings.
Well, let's go over definition. There was a good question that someone had. What was the difference between attention and validation? Because I definitely think that a lot of people think it's very, very synonymous. So I wanted to put up validation. Again, I like words, but I want to use them correctly.
Right.
So right here we got validation, the act or process of making something officially or legally acceptable, proof that something is correct. And I think this is what I'm meaning. This is the last one is recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile. So when she says, you don't seek, validation from your man, me, I think you should, as far as your spouse. And I think both should be seeking validation. So when she said that, again, understand what she meant. I think more as far as what she was going with attention. Definition of attention: the action of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something, notice taken or someone or something, the regarding of someone or something as interesting or important. So drawing attention for me, it's, you kind of look like, oh, I'm interested. Okay. So when people are wanting attention, they want a whole lot of people looking at them of interest. But for validation, it's what I'm saying to you matters. How I'm feeling matters. So it's more of an intimacy of validation that I think that we need to be speaking of, and that is needed for, relationships um, to work.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and get ready to play her some.
Real
Uh-huh.
question for you, Courtney. Uh, is that particularly as far as women to her husband or partner concerned? Is that what you mean? Are we
Mhm.
talking just in that context only, as far as
Well,
validation?
I'm talking about that. Now, seeking
Gotcha.
validation as far as you're wanting your opinions worthwhile to other people, I don't necessarily see a problem with that either, depending on the person. Like, I want my
Right.
mom, my family, to
Right.
validate me as well. I think those are the most important validations because I actually care. Now, seeking validation from strangers,
Yeah.
And that goes to the intimacy part. So the intimacy is, the connection, the relationship. So, anyone that matters to you and you matter to them, yes. I mean, no
yeah.
different than my daughter wants to be validated that I'm proud of her. Like I want, those are the things. But for someone like the young lady who wants to call me an old woman, which okay. So
Mhm.
okay. Okay. If that's
Yeah.
is that all
And
you got?
and the thing is, even because she said that, because you're not seeking validation, you're able to rub that off your shoulders. And that's the difference. If you were seeking validation from people that you don't know,
Exactly.
you would have a problem with it. So
Yep.
again, April Mason, again, I understand where she was coming from. The don't be looking for validation for your man, but no, validation is important.
I do.
Yeah, hello. Hi,
I
brother
do.
Clarence.
Hi, how you doing, Courtney?
You're
How you
doing
doing?
good. Thank you
All
for
right.
joining us this evening.
What's going on, OLA? What's going on, Miss TJ? How y'all doing? First of all, I want to say I'm proud of you for
Oh, thank
stepping
you.
out on your own, and I mean, no journey is without a couple of bumps, stumbles along the way, but after you get the hang of it, you'll get it. So congratulations,
Thank you.
and best wishes to you on making your channel grow. Now, I had a question
Mhm,
that I asked in the chat, which was, what's the difference between attention and validation? So I
mhm,
could know. I mean, I think I might know, but you guys were talking about validation. What's the difference between validation and attention?
mhm. So that's what I was discussing. And this is me, and if TJ and okay, men of prestige, if you
Ola.
want to go that, Ola,
You call
okay,
me Ola.
if you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
go that, that's fine. So for me, when I think about someone getting attention, it's me doing something for onlookers to see and to like what they see or to show of interest of. So if I bring an attention to something, is I'm interested in this or I'm spotlighting something. But for me, validation is a little bit more intimate. It is I want you to care about my emotions, my opinions, my thoughts. And I don't need you to sweep my validations under the rug, my feelings under the rug. I need it to be validated. I'll put this up too because I read this. How if you're not validated in a relationship, how it does harm the relationship. And what validation is also a form of communication. Let's see, this may be done denying, minimalizing, ridiculing, excuse me, ignoring or judging the other's feelings or perceptions, regardless of the means the effect is clear. The other person's feelings are judged as unimportant or wrong. So if you're not validated, this is what people are feeling that's not validated. You need this in your relationship. So you need to be validated by your partner.
What I see, and then just really quick, validation means is synonymous with importance versus attention is noticing something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's important. It just means that you've noticed it and that's the attention. Whereas that validation goes to the credibility of something and the importance or the deemed importance of something or someone. That's how I took it.
Mhm. What
Yeah.
do you think, Brother Clarence? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ole.
Yeah.
Ola.
So to me, right, I just want, again, these conversations, we try to pretend like we're not talking about romantic relationships, but that's what we end up talking about, right?
Mhm.
The truth is that words do change meanings all over the place because of context. Dictionary meanings fall short all the time. And here's how it falls short. You may be more entangled up with your dictionary meaning, the other person may not be. And then there's a disconnect in communication, right? Just like that, right? So when we're talking about validation in the context of a relationship, doesn't even have to be romantic, right? The person feels significant, they feel important. The key word is feel. It doesn't mean, like somebody just said, it doesn't mean they're not important. As a matter of fact, you may start a heated argument with them that they are important, but they don't feel important. And the fact that they don't feel important takes on the energy of that relationship. Either you acknowledge it or not. It does. You don't have to admit to it. You can just look at what's going on, and you see that the feelings take over your relationship 85% of the time more than the reality. It becomes the reality because at least one person is feeling some type of way. And when you disagree with that, that's precisely your feelings doing that. You see what I'm saying? So now validation and attention, they can be interwoven. They can be a subset of each other, right? If you don't give your girl attention, she may start to feel invalidated. This
There you
is
go.
this is something I'm guilty. I've
There
been
you
I've
go.
been doing this for 14 years. She be like, you didn't notice my hair? I was like, I do, babe. That looks beautiful, right?
I
And the
love
thing is
that.
that I see her every day. She's always dressed up and always looking beautiful. So it's kind of easy to take anything that's readily available for granted. We all do it. It's called complacency, right? So it's not about the dictionary meanings when these things start to play out in your personal relationships. It's about the other person's feelings, which you can effectively start arguing with them and disagree with them, and it can take over. I think dictionary meanings, they are two different things. Yes, attention means you notice something. Attention means we're just talking about it in marketing. April Mason, right? She needs to get your attention before she starts sowing seeds. Some people interpret that as you're deceiving us, right? So it is what it is. But validation is a little bit deeper when we're talking about within the context of relationship. And it's not something about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about, does the person feel validated or not?
Well, I kind of want to push back a little bit on that because I think that's the way we've kind of the society has kind of uh, taught us how to be. I think validation is probably going to come from somebody you really care about, as opposed to attention can come from anyone. I can accept attention from anyone, but it's going to be difficult for me to get validated from anyone. But because of social media, now you can get validated without even the person really being there, right? You can get validation from the attention, which is really not how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go,
The like buttons.
well, you're supposed to get in my opinion, you're supposed to get the validation from somebody you intimately acquainted with, and that
Yeah.
person can validate you. And then no matter what everybody else says, whether they give you attention or not, whether they validate you or not, that's not an issue. But you can get attention from anywhere. It's like I I don't want to say too much. So let me say it like this. It's like when a lot of times when I'm talking to a woman will say,
Hmm.
uh, I'll ask, well, have you been married or are you married? And they'll say, no, but I got men in my DMs. And I'll say, but that doesn't mean they want to marry you.
Hmm.
You're not, that doesn't mean they want to marry you. They want something else, but you're equating it with this, but that's not actually this was the situation, what was going on. Like Brother
Yeah.
Ola said, with you you're not thinking in the right way about what's the reality of the situation. So that's all I'm saying about the validation. Because when I heard her on and I'm assuming you guys talking about when she came on the TLA program,
Hmm.
when she came
Right.
on and she was talking about April Mason, when she came on and she was talking. Now, most of the guys, most of us, I'm gonna tell you what it looked like to us. What it looked
Hmm.
like to us was mishmash. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You ever fed pigs? It looked like that. When you just
Hmm.
dump a bucket or whatever in there, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's all over the road. You like, what is she talking about? We
Yeah.
thought she was on this page, but then when she actually came out and started talking, we found out, oh, okay, she just got a different way of setting up the game. She don't have,
Yeah.
she's not setting up the game like Derek Jackson was straight out setting up the game this way.
Okay.
She came out and completely said, "Hey, if you want to make money, pander to women, but in a certain way.
which is true. And
That's
that's
what she
what
said.
Derek makes it. And I'm hearing feedback from somebody. I don't know where.
Oh,
But it's not
Does it?
me.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is what I want to ask you guys too, because I also see something that was is interesting too from when she came out saying that she doesn't deal with women, black women anymore. They're unrealistic. They don't understand. I just can't deal with them. She got championed in the sphere. Everybody, you see, there she goes. She's another woman is saying she can't even find y'all a man. They were so excited. Then she got on here, and as soon as she said something that men didn't like, over, done. Now and then it's of course the whole chameleon thing came out. Y'all know I know about that. But but I find it interesting because I'm like, well, you guys didn't know her. All she said was that she couldn't deal with black women, and then she became champion, but you did not know her. How can she become a chameleon when you didn't even know her stance? So I found that was interesting. And then I think once that kind of came up, and then men were like, well, a couple years ago, she lied on black men. And the lie was because one of her cousins said that she was about
Yeah, that's
three
right.
black men were going to
Yeah.
kidnap her. And then it turned out to be a lie. And then she didn't apologize. So, knowing the history of her, what happened a few years ago, that's why some people were upset. But I didn't see that. And I don't think a lot of us knew. A lot of people that I know didn't necessarily know that history.
Right.
So again, this up and down with her, and I need some understanding on it.
Well, and also I didn't know anything about it, but what I find very interesting is that it has still happened when they were championing her. So what difference does it make if it didn't make a difference that her cousin had lied when they were on the bandwagon when she said she quit black women? Why does it make a difference now?
I think black men see. We were talking about validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've always had these feelings that you know women, especially the sisterhood, have been treating us a certain way. That's our feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When she came out saying, "I'm not with black women no more, and I'm not teaching the black women no more," there goes the validation of our feelings. That, oh, okay,
Mm.
now
I
it's
like that.
somebody
I
in
like
their
that.
camp. It's somebody in their camp that's saying it. Now it ain't just us. It's
You
somebody
felt
in your own camp
validated.
saying that, right?
You felt
So
validated.
yeah, so that's why they was with her. So when she came on the TLA program and she did a 180, they was like, What happened? It was, what happened?
But but the fact still remains that her cousin had still lied and she hadn't apologized. So why was it overlooked
When she
before
was, it was overlooked when she was talking
before?
about black women, but
But
now,
now it's not
now
overlooked
we're
now.
bringing it back up.
It's the same event.
I mean, it's the sorry to say, it's the hypocrisy. That's what
Thank
it
you for
is.
being honest.
Yeah.
I don't think a
But
lot of
But
guys knew about it though.
they
I
didn't
mean, I
know.
don't
yeah,
think
I
They
a
don't
lot of
didn't.
think
They
guys
didn't.
I
They didn't know
definitely
her.
didn't.
They didn't know her. I think what it is that when, like Brother Clarence said, when we all do it, when somebody speak to your point or how you feel validated, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
probably willing to do less digging up on them. Like you're not looking all over the place for their dirt. That's not what you're
Yeah.
looking for. As a matter of fact, you're trying to protect them. There was another TLA streaming where a gentleman was actively trying to protect a bunch of guys that are basically fake,
Mm-hmm.
because he said these are my homies, these are my best friends, right? So this is just how we do
Talking about
as
Donovan Sharp.
pretty yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. So this is just what we do as humans. We need to remember that we're humans and we're biased by default, right? This is why you don't go to your mother, your father for relationship advice, because even like, for example, my personal example, when my wife, some few years back, when she ran to my parents, they wanted to make her feel like they're not defending me. That is by default bias. even
Mm-hmm.
though they were actively trying to push against not doing it. You see what I'm saying? So we're biased by default, and that's what you saw transpire there. And the moment she said something or she spoke in a little bit longer, and we heard some context like whoa, 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 and then people
Yeah.
started coming out of the woodworks with all of these different things. She's been exactly who she's
Who she
been.
is.
She's a businesswoman. She's a coach. She coaches women. She leads with what women want.
Yeah.
In the process of dealing with individuals, you will, just like in this situation, you will hear context. She may go a little bit deeper. You want too much. You are unrealistic with what you're seeking, right? She's not gonna say that on the marketing pieces. That's not how this
Yeah.
works, right? She's gonna draw you in with what you want or what you think you want. Maybe that's not actually what you want.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
that's
ahead,
why I'm not going to
TJ.
be a coach because I'm not that. You'll be growed real if I need to grow you real. I'm not going to co-sign on no foolishness. So that's why I'm not a businesswoman because I will grow you
There you go.
with love, of course.
Now,